like, share, subscribe. Shouts out to the Lions Den community. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the podcast show. Link will be pinned in the top of the chat.
Just name the channel who could bang with us. I'll prove that you are smoking dust. GGB Media is top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have yourself to blame, y'all. Ticket TV and a weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop. Until you get your mouth on LGBT. We are the underground outfit, y'all. We built this whole thing by ourselves, no in y'all. Independence start with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yup, we got that merch for the ladies and yes, we even got that merch for the babies and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got some banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
All right, you guys, so press 1 if y'all can hear me in the comments, man. I got a mic check. 1 2 1 2. If you guys can hear me in the comments, press 1. Salute to everybody for tapping on in. Can y'all hear me? Y'all gotta let me know if y'all can hear me in the comment section, man. Salute to everybody. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Press 1. All right, y'all can hear me? All right, man. Salute. Salute. So it's on, man. It's an all-out absolute war between Elon Musk and Donald J. Trump, as these two, for the last month, have been at absolute battle. And basically, today, Elon Musk has come out in the aftermath of everything and basically challenged Donald Trump's position as president of the United States of America by saying, how can people be expected to have faith in Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States, if he won't release the Epstein files? Now, there's been a lot of information that's been released. Trump's team has released information saying that it's confirmed that Jeffrey Epstein took himself out, and that they released a videotape, but the videotape doesn't seem to be right with a lot of people. It doesn't seem to be the right tape. A lot of people have questions about that videotape that was put out by the DOJ and the FBI on Epstein. Also, you have this report today, shot from to Jen Just Law. Salute to them for this report. As you guys see right here on your screen, it says the Epstein files, the timeline that fuels speculation. Now, back in August 15th, 2019, WAPO reports that Epstein's neck fractures were more consistent with a homicide by strangulation than a unaliving of himself. On August 28th, 2019, both cameras outside of his cell reportedly had malfunctioned. January the 6th, 2020, Dr. Michael Baden, hired by Jeffrey Epstein's brother, says that the noose did not match the wounds on his neck. And also, they're saying that this second autopsy raised the stakes on whether or not it was unaliving or, somebody who took this guy's life. And there's been various reports over the years that show or that speak about the inconsistency of how Jeffrey Epstein was found, the actual positions he was found in, and what actually happened. And now today, as Elon Musk has challenged Donald J. Trump, and basically, I've already told you guys, I think Elon Musk is full of it too, because Elon Musk was backing Donald Trump until money got involved. And when money got involved, now all of a sudden Donald Trump's in the files. He won't release the files because he's in them. All these other things. If this is how you felt about Donald Trump, if you felt like he was a low person, or if he wasn't about anything, Elon, what does that say about you, that you was willing to back him, put your money behind him and everything? It shows that either you have no morals yourself and you was all about greed and all about your own personal business interest and money interest, or, you know, that, you just are, you just ain't a good person, man. You know what I'm saying? Either way, I don't think Elon Musk is a good person. Period. I don't trust none of them. I keep telling y'all this. But Elon says, how can people expect to be having faith in Trump if he won't even release the Epstein files? Now, Pam Bondi's out here getting absolutely destroyed because everybody's saying that she lied. They're saying she lied on Fox News when she went over there talking about that she had the files on her desk. And now Donald Trump is getting upset at the Epstein talk. He was asked about it again today, and he went off the rails, was upset, and want to know why people keep talking about it when it was his Republican Party and the people he put in certain positions who were the ones that was asking about it. But they spoke about this today on the news, and I'll let you guys hear what they had to say, and we'll get into it.
Quote, how can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files? That post by Elon Musk this afternoon gets at a serious question, prompted by MAGA fans, among others, after the Justice Department asserted in a memo that convicted sex offender and multimillionaire Jeffrey Epstein did not blackmail high-profile clients, was not murdered before he was found dead in his jail cell in 2019, and in fact had no clients list. Despite the fact that the very same administration officials are now asserting there is no there there, many of them were the ones ginning up the controversy before President Trump was reelected and while they were in office. The Justice Department memo, first obtained by Axios, also comes 1 month after the billionaire Tesla founder took to his platform X as his alliance with President Trump dissolved. Quote, time to drop the really big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason why they have not been made public, unquote. Musk deleted that post 2 days later, but the new memo has Musk posting this meme, among others. It's a guy putting on progressively more clown makeup with the text, we will release the Epstein list. We just need more time. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list with full clown regalia. The desk part refers to a February clip. The list is on my desk. A February clip from Fox that was played of Pam Bondi. Take a listen.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
But here was Attorney General Bondi earlier today.
I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
Trump was asked about the memo today by a New York Post reporter, and he expressed indignation.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
Yeah. We still talking about him, dog. Yeah, we still talking about him. We want to know what really happened in his cell. We want to know what happened to the video. We want to know what happened to the list. We want to know why the list hasn't been released. Yeah, we still talking about that. We still talking about that. We're going to keep talking about that. We're going to keep talking about that list until they show who's on that list. We don't care who it is. We want to know who's on that list. It doesn't matter how high up it goes. We're going to keep talking about it until you guys stop playing games and release the list, dog. Release the list. Don't get frustrated now because people's asking about the list that y'all was sitting around here, running around here, talking about should be released. Everybody you have in your cabinet right now, they were the ones running around here years ago saying, hey, man, they need to release the Epstein list. They need to release it because they thought Bill Clinton was in it. Right? So release the list. Release the list. We still talking about this guy? Yeah, we still talking about him. The same way we still talking about Diddy every day. We still talking about it. Trump didn't say that about Diddy when they asked him about pardon Diddy. He didn't say, man, we still talking about this guy. This guy's a creep. He didn't say that. Now, we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein. We still talking about that list, dog. Because that late Pam Bondi said she had a list on her desk. Now, all of a sudden, she said, oh, I wasn't talking about that. That wasn't the list. I was saying the file, this, that, and that. Okay, where the file at? Now y'all saying ain't no file. What happened? The American people want to see the list. We don't care who's on the list. It's how we want to see who's on the list. Period. Who's on the list? Show the files. Y'all had extensive investigations, all of these other things, and they sealed those investigations. We never got to see it because Jeffrey Epstein never made the trial. He had an autopsy. Now let's get to that part. And I actually have the actual picture. I can't even put it on here. The actual photo. I can't even put it on YouTube. Right? Multiple photos came out. I hope y'all understand this now. Right? Let's come on now. Let's keep going.
Jeffrey Epstein, this guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Mr. President, the reason people are talking about this guy is because people serving in the highest levels of your administration have been talking about this guy for years and talking about how the Epstein list needs to be released. Here's Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance in October 2024.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it. But we release the list. Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
So they're all saying that it was a list. This is before they even got in the office with Trump. They all saying, yeah, man, we need to release that list, man. Now he's saying ain't no list. Everybody like, oh yeah, it ain't no list, man. What you mean? What you mean it ain't no list? I want y'all to peep all of this. Peep all these people that's willing to come out here, talk about Diddy, talk about Jay-Z, talk about all these other brothers like I am, but ain't willing to talk about this. They ain't gonna put their feet in this one. Where's that list? See, we want to know the names of the people that were on that list. We want them to open up the file. Y'all said y'all was gonna release all the files to the public. Release them to the public. Don't play around with the intelligence of the people. Oh, we're gonna release some now or release some. No. Release all of them in their original form. Point blank, period. I'm telling y'all what it is. Right? Why won't they release the list? Now they telling y'all it ain't no list. They're saying to the world, they want you to forget about it now. They want you. Trump is up here saying, hey, man, why are you guys still talking about this guy? He's a creep. No. We're still talking about him because for years they said that it was multiple big name people who was linked to this guy that was on his client list. Now, all of a sudden, y'all had been for years talking about this list. Now, all of a sudden, ain't no list. Investigation closed. Ain't nothing to see here. He took himself out. Blase, period. Come on, bro. You can't spit on the people and tell them it's raining, bro. It's not going to work. Not going to work. Let's keep going. These are all Trump's people. They were begging to release the list. Begging to release that list. Now, all of a sudden, ain't no list.
The way that I put it. We release the list. Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Here's Kash Patel on a podcast just over a year before he became FBI director.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
And Bongino, a former Secret Service agent turned right-wing podcaster, is now the FBI deputy director. Here he is on his show in February. He was named deputy director just a few weeks later.
I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not letting it go ever. Ever.
You're not ever letting it go, sir, huh? You're not ever letting it go. But now y'all telling us that there ain't no list, man. Ain't nothing to see here, y'all. This is after they have trumped up all this stuff for years. Think about what I'm saying to y'all. They the ones that brought this to us. Hey, man, we need to get those Epstein files out. But now, all of a sudden, they in a position to release the Epstein files, and they talking about ain't no files. Man, bro.
The spokesperson released a statement in 2019 saying that the former president, quote, knows nothing about the terrible crimes. We should note the presence of one's name in the files does not mean they were involved in any way in sex trafficking or having sex with any of Epstein's victims. Here's Alina Habba, now interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey. This is her in February.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be?
So she told Piers Morgan that we got flight logs, we got names, we got information that's gonna come out. Why is it all of a sudden? Nah, we ain't got nothing. There ain't nothing now. There ain't nothing no more. It was nothing. It was no list. It was nothing. Yeah, nothing else to see. He lost his life due to his own doing. It had no foul play. We're gonna put out a video. And then somebody put out today a photo and a video that they don't even look like the same cells. Outside of the same cells, bro. Come on, make it make sense, bro. Then the actual video, people were saying that the videos jumped over a minute, stuff like this. And then the one guy with the crazy hair shape up sitting up there talking about something. The one white dude with the crazy shape up sitting up there talking about, yeah, man, we had to fix the quality of the video, man. But we're gonna release it in its full form, but we had to do some fixing to it. What do you mean fixing? What do you mean? I've seen them put out clean videos from prison. I've seen that shit on YouTube. They just take the video right from the prison file and just send it right to YouTube. You can get it right there. What do you mean? How in the blue hell do you have Epstein in a place where you don't have clean video? Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense. We're not going to do that. We're not going to lie about that. These some lying, capping ass people, man. I'm telling y'all this, bro. And y'all sitting up here and people is afraid to speak out on this stuff, man. You know why? Like I said before, man. They don't want to see they don't want to see real change. They don't want to see that. They don't want to believe that the people that they praise and worship can be involved in some foolishness. Potentially. I'm not even saying they are. They don't even want to have an opportunity to think that. Think about what I just told y'all. Right? These are all the people that Trump has now hired. Was the same ones years ago that's on podcasts, online, demanding that demanding that the Epstein files be released.
It's in Epstein's case. It is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking.
I'm shocked that none of that's been released. In February this year, Attorney General Bondi teased the imminent arrival of the Epstein files, and President Trump's eldest son, Don Jr., posted about the news, quote, LFG, an acronym for Let's Effing Go. A week later, the Trump administration invited a slew of conservative MAGA influencers to the White House, purporting to give them a first look at a batch of documents labeled the Epstein files, Phase 1, but none of it was a smoking gun. The vast majority of the information had already been made publicly available. CNN's Evan Paris reported in March that Attorney General Bondi directed FBI agents, in some cases, to drop their work on China and Iran and focus on redacting the files before their release. Remember, Trump made part of this his platform. Here he is during the 2024 campaign.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
So what's really going on here? I mean, what's really going on? Well, experts such as our friend Julie Brown from the Miami Herald, who's been covering Epstein for years, say that the notion of Epstein having an easy-to-access client list is likely a red herring. And that's what the Trump administration is relying on, that there likely isn't a list per se. But they are also now relying on the fact that because it's MAGA influencers who often put forward so many falsehoods, legacy news media won't push the point, that while there might not be a list, there are certainly files that can be released. There's a trove of information the Trump administration is right now refusing to share. Information that could well point to the powerful folks who availed themselves of the sex trafficking victims of Jeffrey Epstein. If you go, for example, to the FBI vault online, you can see that there are 22 files containing thousands of pages. Most of them are heavily redacted. Now, sure, of course, redact the names and identifying characteristics of the victims. But why not make the victim and testimonies public? As Julie Brown points out, there's still so much we don't know. From the investigations by U.S. attorneys in Miami and in New York, witness interviews in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New Mexico. Brown writes that there's still more evidence that hasn't been published, including, quote, Epstein kept video cameras in most of his residences, and Epstein's autopsy, nor the report of the investigation into his death has been made public.
Yeah, so what happened to all those videos? That's another thing. What happened to all those Epstein videos, y'all? All those videos that they were claiming that he had, what happened to him? Hey, that's really what I want to know. What happened to all those alleged videos, bro? Because they said he was keeping videos too. Now, if they have all those videos, why haven't they released? Well, I mean, what's up with that? Make it make sense. The man said it correct right there, bro. The autopsy reports, the full autopsy reports, all of these other things. The interviews. Why haven't they released the interviews with witnesses in that case? You know the FBI had to go interview dozens of people. The FBI probably interviewed hundreds of people that they have in those files. Do y'all think so? I believe that the FBI have hundreds of interviews where they interview people and people were snitching. I believe it. I believe people were snitching. So why not release the interviews and we can see who some of these people were naming in these interviews. You don't even have to release the names of the people who were snitching. Just release what their testimony was. Release what they said and questions they were asked and the answers they gave. Why y'all think they won't do that? Smash the like button. We should have over 1,000 likes. Easy work. Why they won't do that? Don't y'all think that they should release the interviews that the FBI had with all those witnesses? Don't y'all know that the FBI had to have all these witnesses and stuff they interviewed before they went and arrested Epstein? When they went and arrested Epstein, they already had to have major evidence to prove those crimes. Right? Think about what I'm saying now. We don't even know who else they were investigating. They didn't investigate whatever else that was going on that was involved in that case. We didn't get a chance to see co-defendants, none of this type of stuff. Outside of Ghislaine Maxwell. And if you think she's the only co-D, man, something wrong with you. They probably had unindicted co-conspirators. Or at least people of interest. Where's the interviews at? If you're going to release the files, they should have released all of the information that was pertinent to the investigations and to the indictment and prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein. They should have did it. They should have did it, bro. There ain't no excuse about it. No excuse. Right? I'm being honest with y'all. right? So when y'all see this, and again, Jeffrey Epstein's indictment, I have it in front of me. I have his indictment in front of me. His indictment was sealed. Matter of fact, let me put on the screen. He had a sealed indictment. They unsealed it. And I want y'all to think about something, because I'm going to get into some of this right now. Smash the like button and share the videos. Y'all come on in. If y'all want to donate to the channel, link pinned at the top. Y'all already know what it is. But I want to get a little bit deep into this, because to me, like I said before, man, you know, you cannot be afraid. You cannot be afraid to expose. If you're going to expose some things, you have to be willing to expose it all. Because I believe it should be complete transparency, don't you? That's what I believe. That's what I believe. There it is right there on your screen. There it is right there on your screen. You know, y'all already know I got the paperwork. Y'all know I got the paperwork. United States of America versus Jeffrey Epstein, count 1. Sex trafficking conspiracy. The grand jury charges. Overview. As set forth herein, over the course of many years, Jeffrey Epstein, the defendant, sexually exploited and abused dozens of minorGIRLSs at his homes in Manhattan, New York, Palm Beach, Florida, among other locations. In particular, from at least in or about 2002 up into and including at least or about 2005, Jeffrey Epstein, the defendant, enticed and recruited and caused to be enticed and recruited minorGIRLSs to visit his mansion in Manhattan, New York, the New York residence known as, and his estate in Palm Beach, Florida, known as the Palm Beach residence, to engage in sex acts with him, after which he would give the victims hundreds of dollars in cash. Come on now. Moreover, and in order to maintain and increase his supply to victims, Epstein also paid certain of his victims to recruit additional GIRLSs to be similarly abused by Epstein. In this way, Epstein created a vast network of underage victims for him to sexually exploit in locations including New York and Palm Beach. The victims described herein were as young as 14 at the time, and they were abused by Jeffrey Epstein, the defendant, and were, for various reasons, often particularly vulnerable to exploitation. Epstein intentionally sought out minorSs and knew that many of his victims were in fact under the age of 18, including because in some instances, minor victims expressly told him their age. In creating and maintaining this network of minor victims in multiple states to sexually abuse and exploit, Jeffrey Epstein, the defendant, worked and conspired with others, include. I want y'all to think about this. This is why you need to release the files right here. Listen to what I'm about to say to everybody that's listening to this video. This is the part right here, right? This is the reason why it ticks me off. Because we need to see, because if they would have went to court, you might have heard about some of the co-conspirators. Remember, a certain trial just went by, and you heard about alleged co-conspirators in that case before the brother was found not guilty for the sex trafficking in the RICO. Same thing in Jeffrey Epstein's. Everybody say, oh, well, where's all the co-defendants? Well, let me read this here to y'all in Jeffrey Epstein's indictment, right? It says, in creating and maintaining this network of minor victims in multiple states to sexually abuse and exploit, Jeffrey Epstein, the defendant, worked and conspired with others, including employees and associates who facilitated his conduct, among other things, contacting victims and scheduling their sexual encounters with Epstein at the New York residence and at the Palm Beach residence. Where are all them people at? I will guarantee y'all them people got interviewed. They cannot put that in an indictment without interviewing those people. That's why the files need to be released. Where's all the interviews? Where's the testimony these people gave in those interviews? Where's the testimony at? Those people had to give interviews before they could go and arrest Epstein. They had to do it. Where are the interviews at? I want y'all to think about that. If they at least release the interviews, then guess what everybody gonna find out? Y'all gonna find out who else is involved or who else they allege are involved. Because in those interviews, those people that they interview, they're gonna tell everything. They ain't trying to catch that type of smoke. Right? So now when they say that, oh man, they ain't releasing, why ain't they releasing the files? The files are gonna have those interviews. They're gonna have those statements and those interviews that those people had with the feds. You know the feds went and talked to a lot of people. So it's a lot of stuff they probably had. They ain't even put in this original indictment. Right? Think of what I'm saying to y'all now. Factual background. During all time periods charged in this indictment, Jeffrey Epstein, the defendant, was a financier with multiple residents in the continental United States, including the New York residence and the Palm Beach residence. And beginning at least in 2002, Jeffrey Epstein, the defendant, enticed and recruited and caused to be enticed and recruited dozens of MINORGIRLSs to engage in sex acts with him, after which Epstein paid him hundreds of dollars in cash at the New York residence and the Palm Beach residence. In both New York and Florida, Jeffrey Epstein, the defendant, perpetuated this abuse in similar ways. Victims were initially recruited to provide quote-unquote massages to Epstein, which would be performed nude or partially nude, will become increasingly sexual in nature and would typically include one or more sex acts. Epstein paid his victims hundreds of dollars in cash for each encounter. Moreover, Epstein actively encouraged certain of his victims to recruit additional girls to similarly abused in that way. Epstein incentivized his victims to become recruiters by paying these victim recruiters hundreds of dollars for each GIRL that they brought to Epstein. In doing so, Epstein maintained a steady supply of new victims to exploit. Think about this. And they talking about all them people that allegedly went over there on that island with this dude. So you couldn't even think about who else potentially could have been over there getting massages, and whoever else knows what more. So all you gotta do is Google him. You look at all the people that he's in the pictures with this guy. You know what I'm saying? He hung around a lot of high level people, right? I want y'all to think about what I'm saying to y'all here, right? This indictment is crazy. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on, right? Unbelievable work. They had so much information on him. You had to find out, how did they get all this information? They had to have people that was testifying. Where's those testimonies? Where are the testimonies at? Right? Think about this. They have a whole lot of information that was released in that indictment. But they have a whole lot that wasn't released. Think about what I'm saying to everybody that's in the building, right? And y'all smash the like button. Why haven't they released those files? Then you go and look at his autopsy, the autopsy information, right? You got to look at that. That's very important. You have to look at the autopsy information. That is very important too. That autopsy information, very important, y'all. It's not something you can just overlook, ladies and gentlemen. You have to be willing to look at that autopsy information. That autopsy information Crazy work, right? So basically, there was an article that came out on CBS News that said Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy, a closer look. This came out on January the 5th, 2020 on CBS News. I'm gonna put it on the screen for y'all. Y'all know how I do. I put this stuff on the screen. They had specials on this stuff. You guys have to remember all of these things happened. People have to understand that. A lot of y'all really don't care. See what I'm saying? But like I said, when you work with youth like I do, you care about stuff like this. Right? And that's a fact. So let me put this on the screen for y'all, because I want to show y'all this. So y'all know exactly where to go look. Because everybody needs to know, okay, where can I go find this information ticket? Okay, cool. All you need to do is go to these articles I'm showing you. Now, I'm going to put this one on the screen right here for y'all right now. Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy, a closer look. Right on CBS News, January the 5th, 2020. Right? And I can't put the photos up because of YouTube. Y'all already know how they get down. But it says almost 5 months after convicted sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein was found unalive in his jail cell. 60 Minutes has obtained photographs the New York City Medical Examiner's Office took, including inside of his cell and during his autopsy. The photographs shed new light on the circumstances of the disgraced financier's apparent unaliving, which has fueled online conspiracy theories, but multiple forensic pathologists 60 Minutes spoke to came to a consensus that without one image, the position of how Epstein's body was found in his cell is difficult to determine the cause of death with certainty. But their team is out here now putting out here saying, oh no, it was definitely he unalived himself. Come on, bro. It says, even after reviewing all of the autopsy photos, reading the autopsy, and looking at the photos from inside the cell, we still have questions, said 60 Minutes correspondent Sharon Alfonsi, who reports on a months-long investigation into the circumstances in the Epstein's unaliving on the broadcast on that Sunday that this report was put out. They have multiple pictures, too, from inside that cell. It says, what is not in question is that Epstein is unalive. According to the forensic pathologist, Dr. Michael Batten, who was hired by Jeffrey Epstein's brother to look into the death and was present during the autopsy, the fingerprints on the body found in the Epstein cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in the early morning of August 10, 2019, matched the fingerprints taken of Epstein when he was booked during a 2006 arrest in Florida. No photo exists of Epstein's body as it was found in his cell, Dr. Baden said. Additional forensic pathologists, 60 Minutes consultants say knowing the position in which Epstein was found would clarify certain aspects of the autopsy, including the location of the ligature around his neck, injuries found on his body post-mortem, and the way lividity settled, right? Which is the way the blood pools after death. At this length of time, we still don't have the information, Dr. Baden said. So if this was called a suicide without all that information, it was a premature judgment. New York City Chief Medical Examiner, Dr. Barbara Sampson, ruled in August that Epstein's death was caused by a suicide hanging, right? That's what she said, right? Now, let's keep going into it. Among the injuries found on Epstein during the autopsies are contusions on both wrists, an abrasion on his left forearm, and deep muscle hemorrhaging on his left shoulder muscle. Photos 60 Minute reviewed also show an injury to the back of his neck, a cut on his lip, and an injection mark in his arm, though it's unknown whether the latter injuries happened during an attempt to resuscitate him at the hospital. Dr. Batten said small bursts capillaries known as petechiae found on Epstein's face, mouth, and eyes are often indication of strangulation. But it was injuries to Epstein's neck that make Dr. Baden called into question the official ruling of suicide. The autopsy photos show fractures of the left and right thyroid cartilage, which sits at the front of the neck and the left hyoid bone, a U-shaped bone that sits under the jaw and acts as an anchor for the tongue. I have never seen three fractures like this in a suicide hanging, Dr. Baden tells Alfonsi on the broadcast. He added, going over thousands of jail hangings, suicide in the New York City state prisons over the past 40 to 50 years, no one had three fractures. The pathologist 60 Minutes spoke with agreed that eye hemorrhaging is common in homicidal strangulation and less common, though not impossible, in suicidal hangings. But they disagreed on the significance of the three breaks in Epstein's neck. One occurred with Dr. Baden that the three neck fractures were very uncommon and raised additional questions. Another pathologist said that neck trauma has been associated with both strangulation and hanging, especially in older men. Epstein was 66. Dr. Kristen Roman, a medical examiner for New York City, who concluded the autopsy that Dr. Baden observed, at first did not classify the death as a suicide and listed the manner of death as quote unquote pending. A few days later, Dr. Sampson says she had reviewed additional evidence and changed the ruling to a suicide. She has not revealed what the additional evidence was, but sources told 60 Minutes that one element was his alleged prior suicide attempt. 60 Minutes reached out to the office of the New York City medical examiner but did not hear back. In response to a media appearance Dr. Baden made on Fox News in October, Dr. Sampson told the New York Times she stands firmly behind her findings in the August autopsy report. In general, fractures of the hyoid bone and the cartilage can be seen in suicides and homicides, she said at the time. In October interview with the Associated Press, Dr. Sampson added, "You can't draw a conclusion from one finding. Everything about the case has to be considered." Dr. Baden himself is not without controversy. He briefly served as New York City's medical examiner, but Mayor Edward Koch dismissed him a year later. He has also taken proactive stances in high-profile cases, including the '95 trial for O.J. Simpson. An HBO documentary series has featured Baden, who estimates that he has performed more than 20,000 autopsies in his 45-year career. In addition to the 60 Minutes obtained of the Epstein's autopsy, photos from his jail cell appear to show inconsistencies, including questions about whether investigators examined the correct literature used in Epstein's death. At least two nooses were photographed lying by the floor on his cell, both appearing to be made from strips of orange bed sheets. A second noose was found in Epstein's cell. This one the investigators collected as evidence. But the photos of the noose taken into evidence and presumably thought to be responsible for the killing Epstein show both ends of the noose folded and hemmed, not cut. Sources have told 60 Minutes that the guard who found Epstein cut him down before trying to retrieve him. It does not look like trying to revive him, excuse me. It does not look like anybody ever took scissors to it, Alfonsi said. So there is some question, is that the right noose? Federal prosecutors have charged the two guards who were on duty on that night shift the morning Epstein was found. Michael Thomas, who alone found Epstein's body, and Tova Noel face charges of making false records, conspiring to make false records, and conspiring to defraud the United States. Both have pleaded not guilty. Because of the ongoing criminal investigation into the guards and other open investigations into Epstein's unaliving, neither the Justice Department nor FBI would comment to 60 Minutes. We have examined so many photos, looked at the evidence, and talked to so many people, Alfonsi said, but we still have many questions, and we're looking forward to getting more answers. Here's the thing. Where is all those interviews at? That is what everybody in this chat room need to be asking. Where is all the interviews at? Where's all of them at? Where's all the interviews with all these people at? Where they at? Where is all of the paperwork at? Where is it all at? These are the things we need to understand, right? When you ask certain questions, and when the fans go and ask these questions to these people, they put all of this stuff in the files, man. This is the same way that you had like in the Diddy case. In the Diddy case, everybody they interview, they have that information in those files. Those files are sealed. Like I told y'all, a lot of this shit didn't even get put into the trial. But you see it in the files. When Trump and them said they're gonna declassify all the files, that means all the files, nigga. That means y'all releasing all the information. All the interviews, everything people said. You don't know who asked them, who else was involved, who else was linked up. All of these interviews, all this paperwork is supposed to be in those files. There ain't no way they did an investigation. They don't got that information, dog. You're not fit to sell that on me, bro. I ain't buying that, bro. And now here comes Elon Musk talking about some, hey, man, if we can't trust Trump, how can we trust Trump to run the country if we can't trust him to release the Epstein files? Well, you're the one who trusted him when you got behind him on the campaign trail, sir. And you apparently knew all that information and you still trusted Trump. Why is that? Was it for your own financial good? Because you didn't get mad at Trump until he went against something that was going to hurt your pockets. Then he denies this, but there's this photo of him and Ghislaine Maxwell. And he denies that he was with her like that. He says she photobombed him in that 2014 picture. The rich and the famous. Right? Y'all got to ask yourselves, why is Elon Musk going so hard at Trump now? If he knew all of this, why did he help get Trump elected? You got to ask that question. He's talking about morals and trust. How can somebody trust you, Elon? And you help get the man elected that you're saying is in those files. You said that. And somebody needs to ask Elon, how in the blue hell do he know that Trump is in those files? This is the question you have to ask. They ain't going to do it, though. You know they ain't going to ask. Shout out to Casey in the Cash App with a donation. Salute to you. And Cicely, I'm going to still shout you out. Salute you with a donation in that Cash App, too. I appreciate you. And shout out to Carla in the Cash App with a donation. I appreciate you. You already know what it is. Much love to you. Much love to you. Right? I appreciate it. Yeah, salute to everybody that's in here, man. Y'all know what's up. I just want to know that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to know. I want to know that. Right? So until these people start telling y'all the truth and being transparent with y'all and being able to release the information to the general public, to the people that y'all voted for, you know what I'm saying? Imagine you vote for somebody, ladies and gentlemen, and they won't even release important information to you, and these are the people you voted for that you put your trust in. Imagine it. Right? I'm just saying. And they think this is going to go away. I'm telling y'all, bro. They really think that Cash is going to let this go away, bro. I'm telling y'all. And shout out to Miss Gen X, MS Gen X, with the donation. Salute to you, saying it's a chess game. It is a chess game. Shout out to Melody, says appreciate you for bringing the real with the donation. And shout out to Belfast BMAC with the donation. I appreciate it, man. And everybody else that support the channel. Y'all already know what it is. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on business. There ain't no question about it. See, you can't just be willing to stand against one. You have to be willing to stand against all the foolishness, all the nonsense, all the demons. These are facts. If they won't even tell y'all this, if they already said they wanted to release the list and they were going to do it, and now they're not doing it, and then they telling y'all it ain't no list, make it make sense. This is the easiest thing y'all ever seen. It would suggest that something's being hidden. And then you have to take Elon Musk and ask, what are his motives for now going against Trump? He wasn't going against Trump until it was money involved. He wasn't going at Trump until it was money involved. Right? Y'all know what's up. So I'm telling y'all what it is. Straight up. No cap in the raps. At all. Right? So I salute everybody that's in the building, man. Y'all know what it is. Appreciate everybody tapping on in, man. Like, share, subscribe. I have breaking news update coming for y'all. So we'll see what it is. Hold on one second, you guys. I'm about to tell y'all something. Hold on. Let me see something. Hold on. Hold on, you guys. All right, I'll be right back, man. I got some breaking news for y'all. I'll be right back. Salute to everybody that's in the building. I got some news to let y'all know what's going on. Peace. All right, you guys. So we appreciate everybody that popped in, supported this video. Make sure that you guys shop our merch. We got that new A-Weapons merchandise right there below this video. All you got to do is look below. The links will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well to get the merch, to donate, support the channel, and subscribe to our podcast show. You'll see all those links pinned at the top of the comment section of this video. And we appreciate everybody that supports this channel and our networks. Also, that straight drop weight loss formula. Go to the website. You guys will see that. A link for that will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well. Go right there for all of your weight loss needs. Straight drop weight loss formula. We have a lot of testimonials on the website. You can go to www.str-8-drop.com and get you some of the weight loss formula today. Take your weight loss serious. Get in the gym, work out, exercise, and do what you got to do to stay on point. We appreciate everybody that's been locked into this video. Again, all the links are pinned at the top of the comment section below. Salute to all of y'all. And again, we appreciate everybody who support what we doing over here.